Hi everyone, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Osereme, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful dress, this black and red dress on the side. It was inspired by this picture here and it came out absolutely beautiful. So if you're interested in learning how to go about the cutting and the sewing of this dress, please keep on watching, and if you're still yet to subscribe to the channel, hit on the subscribe button and let's get started with today's video. So guys, to make this dress you will need about 4 yards of fabric in total. So for the black fabric I'm using crepe, and for the colorful fabric I'm using African print. For the colorful fabric you can actually use crepe if you want to. Now I have 2 yards of the colorful fabric and 2 yards of the crepe. The crepe I'm using here is not actually a very strong one. I would have preferred a stronger one than this soft one. Anyways, we're going to make use of it like this. So the first thing I want to do on this black fabric is I'm going to fold it into 2 equal halves. So I folded it into 2 equal halves. As you can see, if you bring it to the other edge, you are going to have it looking like this on this edge. This edge is folded. You can see it's folded here. So I folded it into 2 equal halves. So after folding it into 2 equal halves, you're going to fold it again from this pointed edge. So it now looks like a triangle in a way. So this time around now, you folded the fabric into 4. So once you folded it into 4 from that folded edge, go ahead and start pinning it down from here. So make sure everything is well aligned. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it in place because this particular crepe that I am using, like I told you guys earlier, it's actually very soft, so it can easily move away from where I want it to be. So I'm arranging everything in place and just pinning it down. So I'm done pinning down my fold now, and you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to start taking the measurement. So from the top here, divide your shoulder measurement into 2 equal halves, and wherever you get that measurement, go ahead and draw a straight line across. My shoulder measurement divided into 2 is 7. So I placed my tape like this until I got 7 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line across this point where I have 7 inches. So for you to do this, whatever your shoulder measurement is, go ahead and divide it by 2 and then place it on your fabric and use it to draw a straight line across. So now this line is serving as the shoulder line for this dress. So from the center of the fold, I came in by 3 inches for my neck width. And then I'm coming down by 3 inches as well for my neck depth. I marked 3.5 inches so that I will use the extra ½ inch later to join my shoulders, okay? So once you're through with this, I'm going to go ahead and connect a round neckline on the fabric. Like I told you guys earlier, this fabric is very soft and it's actually shaky, so it's very hard to actually draw on it, but I'm actually trying my best to do it here. I will not advise a total beginner to get this type of soft crepe because you're going to struggle with it. Now the next thing I went ahead to do was on the shoulder line. I marked my shoulder measurement divided by 2, okay, and from that mark I came down by 1 inch, and I'm connecting the 1 inch I came down by to the top of my neckline. This is just similar to what we normally do when we are drafting any shoulder or any blouse. So once you're through with this, the next thing you want to do is to come down by your armhole depth. The calculation for getting your armhole depth is by dividing your bust measurement by 6 and adding 1.5 to what you get. So when I do this calculation, I get 7. So from the shoulder slope, I marked that 7 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead and just draw a straight line from that shoulder slope to meet the 7 inches point I marked earlier. And then I'm going to try to get the midpoint from the shoulder slope to this 7 inches, which is somewhere around here. On this midpoint, I'm going to go in by ½ inch. Now to get the armhole curve, on the bust line, which is on the end of the armhole here, the line that I drew, divide your bust measurement by 4. And add an extra 1.5 inch for stitching allowance. This is because you are drafting directly on your fabric. So I divided my bust measurement by 4, added 1.5 inch to it, and I use it to make that mark. So once you're through, go ahead and connect all the points together to give you your armhole like this. So once you're done drawing out the armhole, you're going to now get the length of the black part of the dress. Now the full length I want this dress to be was about 38 inches. And now for the black part, I want the black part to be about 27 inches, so that the bottom part will be about 11 inches. So now that 27 inches that I want the black part to be, I'm going to measure it from the shoulder. So you can see where our fold ended here. So I'll place my tape at the shoulder and I'll mark the 27 inches that I want the upper part to be. So I'm going to continue marking, making sure that I'm placing my tape on the shoulder very close to the neckline. So I'm going to do this until I get to the other edge of the fabric. So this will also be the same thing you would do for whichever length you have decided to use for the black part of your dress. So you have to measure this on your body to get your particular body measurement. So I'm done drawing out the length of the black part, and this is what it looks like. I'm just going to pin it at some other areas here because the fabric is really shaky. So once this is done, I'm going to go ahead now and cut this out. So I'll place this fabric here because the fabric was really moving. The black fabric was really moving. So I had to place the print fabric to just make it stay in place. So I'm going ahead to cut this out now, and you can see I'm not cutting exactly on the lines. I'm cutting about ½ inch away so that I will use this ½ inch as stitching allowance. So I've cut out the neckline, as you can see, and shoulder. And now from the armhole here, I'm going to just connect a slant into the rest of the body. Because it's a flare, you really don't need to make it straight. It has to be slanted. So once you're done, go ahead and continue to cut the armhole like this, and then cut the rest of the body. So guys, this is what it looks like, okay? The way we folded our fabric into 4, it's going to give you 2 pieces. So that's the front and the back. For those of you who might be asking if there's no need for a zipper here, you can see how wide it is as I opened it, so there's no need for a zipper. So I'm going to separate the 2 pieces, front and back, okay? And I'm going to work on them one after the other. So I'm going to be piping the neckline with a bias. So what I'll do is I'll place the bias on it like this, right sides facing each other, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin it all the way around the neckline. So once you're done pinning it down, just go ahead and stitch on one side first, and then use the other side to cover it up to secure the neckline. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So guys, this is what it looked like after I was done piping the neckline with the bias. So this is what one side is looking like, and this is the other part. So I'm going to place them together, right sides facing each other, and I'm going to go ahead and pin down the shoulders because I'm going to be making a straight stitch to join the shoulders together. So now I'll go over to the sewing machine and stitch on this area here and this area. Then when I'm through with that, I'm going to pipe the armhole area just like I did on the neckline. So now I'm done stitching down the armhole area and the shoulder, so you can see what it looks like. This is a very simple project actually. So now I've turned everything over to the wrong side, and what I'm going to do is to join it on the side. So I'm going to place the sides together, right sides facing each other, and I'm going to join it on both sides. So I'm going to join one side fully, and on the other side I will join it to somewhere around here. So I will have an opening at the end of one side. That opening is where we'll be placing the bottom layer from, okay? So you need to leave a little bit of space on one side while you stitch the other side fully. So guys, this is what I had after I was done stitching it down. Like I said, this fabric is very soft, so this is the opening that I talked about. After doing that, I went ahead to just fold around the edge of the fabric of the upper part here. So I left the opening here, and then this other part is fully sewn. So now the next thing I want to do is to measure around the end of this dress so that I will know the amount of fabric I need for the next layer. Earlier, I told you guys that I wanted this dress to be about 38 inches long by the time I'm done. I changed my mind and decided to make it 37. So I'm counting the excess on my tape to know exactly the length I'll be using for the next layer of my gown. Okay, so after I was done, I decided to cut out the next layer to be 13 inches long. So the height is 13 inches. And then for the width, which is the area that is going to be going all the way around the flare. So what I need to do is to measure around my flare and know the amount of fabric that goes around my flare. And then I'll be cutting out at least twice of that measurement for the Ankara part. So I'm just going ahead to measure all the way around the flare area of this dress. So guys, after I was done taking the measurements around the whole flare, this is the other fabric that I have here, as you can see. So I'm going to make sure that the measurement I am taking for this is at least twice that measurement. Let's assume that when you measured around the black part, you had about 2 yards. So that means that the bottom part is going to be about 4 yards, so that by the time you make gathers, it will look full. I hope you guys understand. So after cutting out the length of the fabric that I needed, I went ahead to make a stitch from one edge to the other, and I made this stitch about 1 inch below the starting of the fabric. So this stitch was a gather stitch so that I can pull on it to get gathers on this fabric. I have stitched down the edges, as you can see. I stitched down the edges of the fabric, especially this upper part. First of all, go ahead and stitch it down before you make this gather stitch. The gather stitch should be 1 inch below the start of the fabric. So you are going to make this gather stitch from one edge of your fabric all the way to the other side. So I'm pulling on these gathers now, and I'm going to pull it until I get to the other side, and I'm going to just go ahead and top stitch this on the black part of this fabric. So guys, after I was done making the gathers, this is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to bring my black part, the black part of my dress, and that opening that I told you guys to have earlier, I am going to start placing this from that opening. So I'm going to be placing it right on top. So I'll place it on top like this, and I'll go ahead and just pin it in place. So I'll just pin it on top of it like this. So you're going to continue to pin this all the way around. You don't necessarily need to pin it around because that's going to be a lot. So just pin the starting points. Make sure that every other fabric is out of the way. Okay, so I'm just going to arrange it like this, and I'm going to just pin it down, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and make a top stitch following the line of the gathers that we had earlier. So I'm going to try and make sure that all the stitches I'm making are going to be following the gather line that I had earlier. Okay, so I'm just going to head over to the sewing machine now and make a top stitch on the areas that I've pinned down, and I will do this all the way around the bottom part of this dress through to the back. Okay guys, after I was done making this top stitch all the way around, this is what I had. So you can see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see the side where we had our opening here. So I'm going to now turn everything over to the wrong side again, and the last part will be for us to join this area together. So I'll just make sure that this upper part here is not folded down. Make sure it's standing straight, and it's standing straight on this side as well. Place them right sides facing each other, and then go ahead and pin it down. So I'm just going to extend the rest of the body straight like this, and I will just go over to the sewing machine and make a straight stitch here. And after doing that, I'm just going to fold the edge. So I'll just fold it in like this once and fold it in again. I'll do it all the way around, and that will basically be all for the making of this dress. So guys, after I was done with it, this is what it looks like. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys find this tutorial helpful. If you're still yet subscribed to the channel, please hit on the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.